that he does a great job. He's really got the player's best interest in mind, and I think that for Le'Veon Bell, his situation, for Melvin Gordon, for his situation, for those guys to if Gordon does hold out and Bell did hold out, just really terrible advice, I think, from an agent to allow that to happen, and as we said, to lose money that you can never make up in a career. And these guys are not going to play forever, and this is not a quarterback that can play till he's 42 like Tom Brady and Drew Brees and those kind of guys. The running backs, how many guys have played even into their low to mid 30s? Adrian Peterson is hanging on at 32, 33, and I think Marcus Allen was one guy that played into his 30s very well, Walter Payton, but it's very rare.
Absolutely. Let's have some fun now. Adam Thielen competed. I saw him out at the Pro-Am at the 3M Open, and his swing speed was ranking up there right with the pros. He just has a great swing. He's a great athlete. But I think also, so he's a great golfer. He's a great high school golfer. But you see him play in these tournaments, you also realize just how hard the game is, because a lot of the guys who go to a celebrity event and do very well, they couldn't make the cut at a U.S. Open qualifying. So there's this huge gap, even though these guys are great athletes who hit it a mile.
Yeah, that's right. Tony Romo, who defended his title, has played in a couple tour events. He's never made a cut.
Right.
And
Steph Curry, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam, excellent golfer, and finished in the top 10 this year at the American Century Championships last weekend. Finished tied for 9th, and last year he was tied for 18th. So he's getting better and getting better, and so I think it was fun to see him have that kind of finish. Even though unfortunately he didn't get a lot of TV time because it was all about Romo,
of course,
and Steph Curry and Justin Timberlake.
It is weird. I mean, I usually don't go down the road of saying, oh boy, the local athlete needs to get more exposure. It's just not my game, and I don't really care about that stuff. And I'm not a homer, so I don't just automatically promote the local person. But there is this weird thing about Adam, because he has been an underdog and he has been under the radar for so long, and because he kind of slowly emerged, I really do think he's the rare case of a local player who doesn't get the right amount of exposure or credit or fame from what he does when you look at his numbers, his production, his importance to his team.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I'm biased because he's a client of my firm, but even looking at it objectively, which I can do. And when I see ratings of top 10 wide receivers on whatever website, and he's not included, or top 8 or whatever, the impact wide receivers, and he's not there with Odell Beckham and Michael Thomas and Antonio Brown and these kind of guys, and you look production-wise, and that's where he is. And so the numbers speak the truth and how important he is to the Vikings offense, and I think that he is under-recognized nationally, even though he is a 2-time Pro Bowler, and there is a fan vote component to that. And I think he got a lot of attention last year early in the season when he was on the 100-yard streak for 8 straight games and set an NFL record in that regard. And so, unfortunately, at the end of the season, when the offensive line caved in, it wasn't quite as good. But he still had 113 catches last year and an outstanding year, and I think he deserves to be mentioned at the top elite receiver level in the NFL.
It's just so easy for people to say, oh, also Adam Thielen, instead of automatically putting up there whatever the number is, top 5, top 8, whatever. Right. And the other thing is he also shares with Diggs, and Diggs is a very good receiver. In fact, they're really similar receivers in a lot of ways, and that probably divides the credit a little bit as well.
Yeah, it does, definitely. And I think what will help both of them this year is if a really solid third receiver can emerge, whether it's Chad Beebe, who looked terrific in minicamp, and Laquan Treadwell. I think he's in trouble, and we'll see. He's going to have a great camp and great preseason, I think, even to make the club, because potentially they might be able to pick up a little cap room if they did let him go. And so we'll see. Jordan Taylor, the receiver from Denver, that that Gary Kubiak has a fondness for, and there's going to be great competition. So as I look ahead to training camp that opens a week from Friday, I think that receiver position is going to be one of the most interesting to watch in camp to see how that unfolds.
No question about it. Thanks again to WhiteBearLakeSuperstore.com. Let's get a final thought from Jeff. Next week we'll start looking more toward training camp, the traditional stuff. We'll also give you some Mankato memories, since I miss Mankato. You didn't get excited about going to Mankato, but you appreciated what was there. You appreciated the grind. You appreciated the routine. You appreciated getting to know this town, the people. And the difference is, Jeff, and we'll talk more about this next week, you actually were there with other people who were also there. So you went out to dinner with different people. You had conversations that you wouldn't necessarily have if you're just kind of getting to and from work in your hometown. So final thought for today, and again, we'll do more training camp Mankato memory type stuff next week.
That sounds good. And I think that as I look ahead and you think about we are 10 days from training camp, and you think about what's going on in players' minds now, and there was a very interesting story that I read about Chris Long, and he was talking about how he's not going to camp this year. He's retired, and Howie Long's son had a great career, won a Super Bowl.
And a great guy, too.
And a great guy, yeah. And he was talking about he is so excited about not going to training camp, but then the next paragraph he's like, but I think I'm going to miss the guys and the work and just being there and sweating it out, and so it's just kind of funny the mixed emotions that everybody has this time of year in the NFL that I had as a team exec and as players do and coaches do, and they're all kind of going to start coming back into town now, and the ones that did leave, and so it is kind of a mixed emotion, because you know that once you get to training camp, whether it's wherever it is, and here it's at TCO Performance Center, it's going to be hit the ground running hard and going hard, but not two-a-days like they used to do all the time.
No, which is good, because I don't think two-a-days really work that well. That's another topic for a future show, is the change mentality about the way people are treated and people's bodies are treated. So thanks again to WhiteBearLakeSuperstore.com. Thanks to Jeff. We'll be back next week with more Viking talk.